What's up, guys? Mark Fleetwood here. This is Old Line Fishing, and this is going to turn into a sexy shad. Stick around, I'm going to show you how I do it.
Yeah.
Alright, guys, getting started. We have a flat side crankbait. Leave me a comment below. I'm not sure if this is technically a square bill. It's a coffin style bill on a flat side crankbait. Pretty sure that would still be classified as a square bill, but anybody who knows all those kind of little sub specifications, let me know if there's a different specification for that. Alright, getting started with this blank. I have a white sealer, and we'll throw a coat of sealer on first before we hit our base coats. One thing you always gotta make sure of, and I'm pretty bad with, is to make sure that you have all the gunk out of the bottle. These little picks are really good for that. So any dried paint around the lip, get that out. That will clog up an airbrush quicker than quick. I will pause any audio during the time of my compressor kicking on. I don't have a small compressor specifically for airbrushing, so it gets pretty loud. So I apologize for that. I will cut out and stop talking and just kind of wait it out. So the video might be a little choppy. Here we go. Your base coat doesn't have to be super heavy. It actually probably works better to keep it relatively light. Alright, so base coat is applied. I'm going to heat set this just to get a quick dry on it. And again, it's not super thick. You can still almost see through it. There's still some transparency to it. So just a base coat to get tacky. Alright, so what I'll do, for anybody who's not familiar with the color Sexy Shad, it's a relatively, I'd say it's a very popular color. I think probably most popularized by the Straight King lures, and specifically the KVD lures, but I'm sure the color was already around before then. I'm going to start with a medium gray. I'm going to about 3/4 of the way up the bait from the back, shoulders, down a little bit less than the halfway point. Going straight down the head and the back. And with this, I'm feathering it pretty lightly so that it's more air pressure than actual paint flow. So if you see me going over multiple coats, it's because it's very light on the actual paint flow. And I want to make sure that I'm able to control how far down the blink I go with this color. Just a hair further. There we go. Down the opposite side. So right about to the bottom of the eyes on both sides. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit the back side here because this little square spot on the bottom, on the back, and underneath the nose typically get missed when you're painting, so you want to make sure to hit those spots and get a good coverage on that. Alright, I'm going to heat set this as well because I'm going to go with my next color over top of the gray. And the general rule of thumb with airbrushing, if you want to blend colors, you do it wet. If you want to have one color over top of the other, you do it dry. Quick bit of heat. So we go from medium gray. I always hang up my airbrush whenever I walk away because I don't want it to drop. I don't want it to fall, bend the tip, or anything along those lines. Because that just ruins your whole day when you do that. I've done it. I want to do it because I've experienced doing it. Now with this, because I'm going to be doing a smaller section, I'll go a little bit lighter on the air pressure so I don't overspray too much. What I want to do is I want to blue out the top and the back and just a hair down the shoulders so there's only a little bit of the gray showing underneath, predominantly blue. Okay, so that's enough for the blue, and what you'll see, what you get, is you get kind of a pale blue top. The color I'm using is Laguna Blue, so you get kind of a pale blue top with just a little bit of the gray showing out the sides. I'll heat set this and then on to the next color. Now one of the problems I do have is that my shop is in my basement and lighting is not the best, So I'm trying to get a good angle to show the coloring, but I will show a complete finished product once it's all said and done. Show it to the side. Clear out the chamber of any blue, because the blue is dark. Obviously it's a dark color. We're going to go to a yellow next, and the yellow will not shine through the blue if there's any blue left in the chamber. This little cup is just airbrush cleaner. I pretty much clean out between every color change. Unless I'm able to go light to dark. If I'm going light to dark, then I can just switch colors and it's not that big of a deal. So, a little bit of blowback, try to get all the blue out. Get a good clean yellow. Now with the yellow, I'll go with even lighter air pressure because I want a clean line, a relatively thin line down essentially the body line of the bait. So I'm going to try to do this with no splattering and not make the line too thick. Go a little yellow line down the middle of the bait. I don't know if you guys are able to see that. With lighter pressure, lighter air pressure, and more feathering, you're more prone to get clogs. So just be careful with that. Gun will clog up quickly. Yellow is pretty even. Now we are going to go with a very light pearlescent white for the body of the bait underneath the yellow stripe. Make sure there's no yellow left. The pearlescent white will pick up any color left in the chamber. And the pearl white won't really cover any other colors if you get overspray. It will mute them a little bit, but it won't cover. And sometimes you actually want to mute some of your brighter colors just to make them a little bit more natural. But it is a thicker paint because it has the kind of metallic in it. So you need to spray it at a higher air pressure. So this would go back to the high air pressure that I was using for my base coat and my first coat of gray. Alright guys, at this point you could very easily call this finished. It is all the colors, everything that makes a sexy shad a sexy shad. This is what you need. I'm gonna add a little bit more to it. Belly eyelet. This literally only takes a drop or two. If you wonder why I'm testing on the paper so often, it's to make sure I don't actually spray with the wrong air pressure. Like I was cleaning that and just shot the white. That was very heavy, like a base coat. Now I'm going to go in a very light spot. I want to make sure I don't have the same pressure. So getting used to testing every time reminds me of when I have the right pressure or not. Just a little accent under the belly. Here's a point where I can have a bit of fun with this, make a little bit my own. What I'm going to do is I want to add a mesh cover. I'm going to use this to add a scaling effect to the top. So I'm going to scale the blue and the gray. One thing you absolutely have to make sure of is you have to have this stuff wrapped tight. You don't want there to be any type of an air gap when you're spraying this, because you can very easily screw up your whole pattern. Just by getting air underneath a loose mesh. It picks the mesh up. Cause you all kinds of problems. If your air from your airbrush picks up your mesh, you're going to spray under it, and you're going to lose your previous pattern. Wrapped up all the way around. Again, you can't use too many clips for this. For most colors on this though, you can use too much air pressure. Too much air pressure will blow the paint under the scale even when it's wrapped tight, so you want to keep this as low as you can get away with. that's enough. Heat set this very good because you want to make sure you are completely dry before you peel off the mesh. And after we heat set this, this bait will be done, ready for eyes and clear coat. Alright, it is time for the reveal. Here's the finished product. I'm going to try to turn around so you can get a good view on this. Alright guys, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about this sexy shad. If you got any other patterns you'd like to see me paint. Sorry I haven't had more actual fishing footage. It's been extremely hot. We had a severe front come through a couple days ago. Dropped a couple inches of rain on the area, and post frontal has been really tough. I've been out. I've been struggling to get one fish at a time, so instead of doing boring content of me fishing and not really catching fish, I figured I'd do some content of other fishing related things. So here you go, my take on the sexy shad. Thanks for watching guys. See you.